later to see if, you know... Oh, to see if, you know, it won't cut out. I figured out that problem. So when more people do show up for class today, I can at least mention why. Why. All right. Shibbity dip, flibbity bip, shibbity ba ba da ba ba da ba ba da ba. La da 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 la da la da da da. Good morning, Elena. How are you? We are gonna get started in just a little bit. Starting the stream a little bit late today. Not super late. It's not a super big deal either. So yeah. We'll figure it out. Kitty of Freedom. Thanks for the follow. Oh. Oops. Why did I do that? Alright. Good morning, Audrey. And Rachel. How are we all doing this morning? How all doing? Doing well? Hope so. Oh. One of my... Oh, that's... Didn't... Okay. Cool. Good to know that sucks. Good to know. Great. I put up some soundproofing and, it just fell off the wall with the double-sided tape. So yeah, you can say my morning is going super well. Good morning, Tyler and Sophia. TTSS, and Madison. Oh man, Tuesday, week 2. Hi, Kitty of Freedom. Welcome to the show. Thanks for the follow. So, it was a White Rabbit project. So, did you all know, I don't know if you watched Mythbusters, or if you stumbled across the White Rabbit project on Yahoo, Netflix a few years ago. But Gran Imahara died. He had a brain aneurysm. Yeah. He was one of the good morning, Aaliyah. He was one of the Cogpsych. That's Cogpsych. Sorry, Kitty of Freedom. Yes, I am a cognitive scientist or cognitive psychologist. Hence my name. Yeah, so Gran Imahara, he was one of the official operators of R2-D2. He was so good. Yeah. Sad. Kind of sad. Not kind of sad. It is sad. Lots of young people. We're losing a lot of young celebrities. And it's so sad. He's so sad. Yeah. It's very true. Alrighty. So, Persuasion and Conformity today. Yeah, how's everybody conforming in their lives today? Are we doing a lot of conformity in our lives this morning? I can think of one example of y'all of conforming. What do you think? What do you think that is? Let me know in chat. La, 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 la. Hey, Jacob. I just noticed you were lurking in chat there. Why don't you say hi? Great of you to join us. Great of you to join us. I usually say whichever the... Ah! I like that, Sophia. You say the same thing. No, I was thinking a little bit more broader than that. I was thinking that for those of you who are at least in this class, your conformity today was showing up to class. Sure, there's quite a bit of incentive to show up, but that is to say, with conformity, there's incentive to conform, right? So that's today. I don't know why that's so not... Oh, Jacob, not invisible. Sorry, never gonna be invisible. For those of you who are wondering, Jacob is a psych student at Eureka, and yeah, he enjoys coming to my streams. Don't you? Kitty, you're allowed to stay and participate in the chat. The more the merrier, even if you're not in the class. That's why I do my classes on Twitch. Okay. All right. So I think what I want to do is sort of divide the stream today by topic. So I want to talk about persuasion first. Then we'll take a break, and then we'll do conformity. Okay. Well, there are other ways that you're conforming, Kitty, by putting on clothes, unless you're naked. You know, that's one way. You gotta put on clothes. You gotta be presentable, right? It's business up top. And nothing else. Just kidding. It's business up top, but like I'm at home on the bottom. You know, that sort of thing. Alrighty. Alrighty, persuasion. And we are going to start. So, some really good questions on the discussion forum today. Really good questions. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to all of them because... And I tried to sort of divide. I think did I try to? I don't remember if I did. Skittles for breakfast. That is the heartiest meal. I tried to divide the questions that I got through conformity and persuading, but I think most people asked about persuasion. So we're going to spend a little bit more. We're going to spend a lot of time on persuasion. Let me, before I'm going to switch to just chatting here. Just chatting. So my face is bigger. No. I want to open up these links. You would have think I done that. You would have thunk. There's this one particular one that I wanted to start with. It's an advertising trick. And a psychologist by the name of Robert Cialdini came up with it. Yes, WTPV is my... and it's a quiz, and I want to make sure... Sorry this content is no longer available. It was available yesterday. In my new book, Persuasion. Well, that's not fun. That's super annoying. Take the quiz. There it is. Sorry, I missed the link. Oh no, it says it's unavailable. Bummer, man. Okay, next thing. We're moving on to the next thing. Because that one was not available for some reason when it was available yesterday. So, cool. All right, so this is what I want you to do. I want you to attempt to persuade me in chat about something you really like. And you'll want to use the principles that I talked about in the lecture video. Let me know. Or try to persuade me in chat. Do it. Go for it. This is your chance. This is your chance to move me to your side. Or persuade me. Regardless. Now, you don't know what I have positive attitudes toward versus what I have negative attitudes toward. So, we'll see. I will pick a winner. I will pick a winner. And do you want to know what the prize for the winner is? The prize for the winner is VIP status on the channel. Oh, that's real good. Jacob, you should tell them. It's real good. The music actually kind of works right now. It's like persuasion music. Gotcha. Jacob, all the power. I love it. All right, Kitty is suggesting that third parties deserve to have a place on the debate stage, as it is unfair to require 15% of the polls if they're not listed on the mainstream polls. Okay. Anything more about that? Do you have any, like, where are you coming from with that? Why should I believe you? Why should I believe you? So that's the sort of thing that I'm looking for, everyone. Just on the chat. Chat. That. So, your job. I will pick a winner. I promise. I will pick a winner. Let me see it. It can be about anything, too. It doesn't have to be about politics or anything like that. It doesn't have to be... It's just anything. All right. Joe's got one here. The Last of Us 2 was the greatest PS4 game of all time. Not only did they provide a great story, they chose to go with a deep and gut-wrenching story that broke us as gamers, other than giving us the perfect ending. They opened up a chance of making another game rather than ending it. Okay. So Joe, I assume that you are coming from this perspective as a Last of Us player. Last of Us 2 player. As well as a Last of Us 1 player. It's important for whether or not this is a persuasive argument to me. Okay? I need to know where you stand on this. I'm open. I'm open to it. Kitty, we found out the principle that anyone can run for office, but then deny third parties and independents ballot access and do not allow them on the main debate stage, which is one most voters pay attention to. I assume when you say we, you're talking about Americans, the United States. which is fine. That's fair. It's a fair point. I will counter your persuasive argument with it wasn't built to be that way. Where's everyone else in the class? Where are all y'all? Where's everyone? I'm waiting for your persuasive arguments. It could be as silly as you want. It could be something that you really, 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 really love, that you nerd out about. It could be something that you find to be extremely important. You know, you gotta, but I gotta see it. I gotta see it. Help me out here. Help me out. While I'm waiting for that, I'm gonna get some videos ready to play. To prevent autoplay on YouTube. Shush.
Bush.
I said shush. I said shush to you. Alright, where's everybody else?
Bush.
That's not what I did. Okay. Oh no. Oh, bummer. Okay, I'm gonna have to find that again. Alright, Merrick came in with one. I will come back to that in just a sec. As I get these things.
Climate.
I think you're not alone on that, Merrick. If you are struggling to figure out something, just figure out something. Just write about something. Just write about something.
This evening.
Excuse you. Can you like not do that? No, I wasn't talking to you, chat. Okay, Aaliyah came in with something.
Pants. Right here?
Oh, we heard that one. Hee hee hee. Hee hee hee. Very fun.
Different kinds of reasons.
All right. Audrey coming in with one as well. Excellent. Excellent. All right. All right, let's go back up to Merrick here. All right, proper sword etiquette was respected for many years, centuries upon centuries, and only recently have we turned away from these social rituals, even though echoes still remain, like shaking hands when you meet someone. I propose that we, as a society, should bring back swords, both for social defense and as a form of etiquette. I mean, why? I can already think of issues with that, people getting stabbed, Merrick. So, why should I buy into that argument? Let me know. Aaliyah, you should totally watch La La Land. It's necessity for knowing that not everything can work out if you want it, no matter what, how much you try to make it work. Watching this unforgettable love story does not teach you about love. It's about trying to make it into the world, regardless of the hardships you endure. along with having amazing cinematography and iconic music that you will remember throughout your years. You will not regret watching this movie. I like it. Playing into some emotion stuff, the regret, talking about love. It's a pretty strong argument, Aaliyah. It's a pretty strong argument. I don't know if I can. I don't know. Woo! Give me a little bit more. Give me a little bit more. Audrey. Bucky Barnes is the best character in the MCU. Oh, boy. He has a painfully emotional backstory and shows the most growth out of every character we see in the movies. He also helps give Steve Rogers, a stereotypical Boy Scout character, more depth and interesting background. Oh, man. That is a hill. That is a hill. Okay. All right. I don't know. I'm gonna need more about Bucky. I think I'm gonna need more about Bucky. Thanks for the follow, Crip Show. The Crip Show. All right, Joe, coming in with an additional part of his argument. I stand with the side of the great game because a lot of the gaming community are babies when it comes to the video games, thinking that we should choose what happens to our favorite characters or franchise. But The Last of Us 2 not only tricked us with the trailers thinking they were going to get the story that we wanted, instead gave us more and better complex game that made us think about our morals. I like that one. I don't know. Kitty coming in with, I guess, another one. Remake Clockwork Orange with the original ending. The character decides to become good, and it's no. We're no. Nope. Leave the book by itself. It has that dumb ending. Movie stays the same. Kitty, you lose. I'm sorry. You should stick with your other one. Sophia. Overwatch is a dying game. I've been playing it for years, and it has only gotten more frustrating and toxic. On one hand, when new characters added, they are overpowered. When the characters is nerfed in efforts to fix it, they become useless. On the other hand, the player base is made up of a lot of horrible people. When using mic chat to communicate with your team, there's a possibility you will bashed, taunted, or verbally attacked for making even the smallest of mistakes. That sounds like an awful game to play. Sounds like an awful game. Why did you get... Rachel, I'm so sorry. Let me... I can read it. I'll read it out loud because I can see it. Nightbot's being a little annoying. I will turn him down on words, phrases. So Grey's Anatomy should end its series. As an avid watcher and fan, it's hard to watch as many characters begin to leave the show. At this point, about to begin season 17, there are only 3 original characters left leaving the show, totally different than when it started. Since I have watched all of these seasons more than once, I think Grey should allow the characters on the show to round their storylines and allow fans to get the ending they deserve. That is a good argument. That is a good argument. Rachel. Sophia says, I don't use mic chat, but I still get frustrated on my own for losing. That still sounds like an awful game to play. Like, if you want to use mic chat on Overwatch, that sounds really awful. So yeah, I don't know. That's a bummer. Okay, so of the arguments that I just got, of those arguments that I just got, what do I want? Who had the strongest one? Okay. I'm gonna do poll. Need the poll. Okay. I'm gonna allow the chat to tell me. I can only have 5 people in the poll, so I'm just gonna Last of Us 2. Oops, I wrote Last of Us 3. So I'm gonna put in my strongest arguments there. Grays. Yes, gotta scroll the chat here. Bucky Barnes. That was a strong argument. And La La Land. That's where I grew up, by the way, La La Land. And then Overwatch. All right. Now, all right. So vote, and you can vote. You can vote. For yourself if you want to. Okay, you can vote for yourself if you want to. I think I'm gonna do 3 minutes here. It's gonna be at the top of the chat. Strongest argument. 3 minutes. You can choose The Last of Us 2, La La Land, Grays, Bucky Barnes. You can vote for yourself or you can vote for somebody else. And we'll see where this ends. All right, so we've got 5 votes. Make sure you're voting so we can get better than 20 at plurality. Let's see it. Let's see it. The rest of you who are in chat. All right, keep going. We still have some time. So even if you are not in the class, you are allowed to vote in this poll. Megan, jump in and vote in the poll. All right, a little less than half the time left. Ooh, Last of Us 2 and La La Land are tied at the moment. You are just vote for one of the titles that you think is just for one of the options you think. Just throw it in there. Kitty, you can jump. You can find all of the lectures for this class on my YouTube channel. So if you just search my name or Nightbottle, it's up there. Couple of messages just above Megan saying I'm here. That's the link to my channel. You can find those. All right, it's almost done, and a lot of ooh. All right. Looks like it's gonna be a 3-way tie, which is gonna help me. Narrow down my choices here. Last of Us 2, Grays, La La Land. Yep, there you go. Tied for the winner. Tied. Winner, chicken dinner. Okay. Last of Us 2, Grays, and La La Land. Okay, so those are my 3 that I'm going to choose from. Hmm. I have that too. I have that podcast as well. That kind of podcast as well. Nightbot will throw that in chat eventually. Another minute or two. All right. So Last of Us 2, Grays, and La La Land are my... I think I'm going to go with La La Land on this. With a slight... With a just a small smidge behind Joe's Last of Us 2. I think that's... So the winner is La La Land. Aaliyah, I think that was yours, right? Congratulations. You are now a channel VIP. You're now channel VIP. All right. So, what else are we doing? Because let's move on from that. You know what's funny is just reading that as text, you can read it in a couple of ways. You can read it with a little bit of, or a lot. Just fell. Okay. You can, this made my day. So it could be, you could read it as sarcasm. Oh my god, yay. Or, oh my god, yay. Like, genuine. So, yeah. Well done. I probably won't watch the movie, though. Eventually. In, like, 5 or 10 years, give or take. But I did like your argument. Okay. So, what else do I want to do? Well, I want to tell you about how scientists are constantly have to deal with this persuasion argument. Like, we have to sit here and persuade people that are listening to us to our side. And I found a video of a climate scientist talking about how climate change and how persuasion regarding climate change gets in, or things get in the way of people talking about that, of people buying into the argument. So I'm gonna let Catherine Hayho. Shoot. Hell. Here she is. Okay.
Change. It's just a money grab for us. Climate change. It's just a money grab for us scientists to rake in millions of dollars from government grants, right? I get messages like this on a regular basis. And when I point out that an earth scientist with a Ph.D. like me would get a lot more money working for an oil company than a university, it's met with blank stares. Why is it that some people are so convinced that all climate scientists are funneling millions of dollars of government money into their Swiss bank accounts, and oil executives aren't shoveling billions into their accounts in the Cayman Islands? Part of it might be because grants always seem to involve such enormous sums that we often feel like are just being handed over to scientists on a silver plate to do something mysterious in their labs that would make any taxpayer scream. I'm a scientist, and I do get government grants. So let me pull aside the curtain and show you exactly what happens to that money. The biggest grant I ever got was for the stunning amount of $1.1 million.
She's so rich.
To develop new ways to understand climate change at local to regional scales. 1.1 million seems stunning, that is, until you realize how far it really goes. I wrote that grant together with 4 other researchers from different universities. So the National Science Foundation divided the money up about evenly amongst us, giving each of us around $220,000. That's still a nice amount of money. The grant was for a 4-year period, which meant I had about $55,000 to spend each year. Still nice, right? Then, my university took about 50% of what I asked for. That's 1/3 of the total amount. To
For
cover
overhead.
what's called facilities and administration costs. Now, don't go thinking that got me a luxurious office. My office has no window. It barely has room to swing a cat, as they say. Not that I would ever do that. And I bought my own furniture and computer. But the university does pay for internet, electricity, and an infernal amount of paperwork. That leaves about $37,000 for me to spend each year. With that money, I paid a graduate student the princely salary of about $25,000. I paid about $10,000 more to the university to cover their tuition, and I ended up with about $2,000 left over each year. First year, I bought my student a computer. Year 2, I paid for them to go to a scientific conference. And in years 3 and 4, I paid for us to publish a scientific paper each year. Because yes, those cost about $2,000 as well. Boom.
Well,
That's how a scientist spends
for
$1.1 million.
that's
The
for
reality
open
is that
publishing.
nearly every climate scientist I know could make at least the same amount of money, and often a lot more, in a different field. I still remember a colleague I had for a few years here at Texas Tech. He'd been lured away from a cushy industry job with the promise of an endowed chair position here at the university, which meant that he came in making easily 2 to 3 times more than I was. But after he'd been here only a few years, rumors started flying that he was leaving again. When I asked him if he really was, he said yes. He loved working at the university.
Never
but
satisfied.
the oil
He's like-
company had made him an offer too generous to refuse.
He's like,
Greed
I'm
is
Alexander
only
Hamilton.
One of the accusations that
I'm
are
never
hurled at us
satisfied.
scientists on a nearly daily basis. Why? I think it's the idea that if you discredit the messenger, you can silence the message. Sometimes we're accused of selling out to Big Green. Big Green, really? If you're wondering who has the most money in this world, just look up which companies make the most money each year on Wikipedia. Oil and gas companies are 5 of the biggest 10 earners in the world, and none of the top 10 are green energy companies. Nearly every week, some man, yeah, it's almost always a man, makes a point of emailing me or commenting on my social media accounts, specifically to tell me that I'm stupid or ignorant or uninformed. I've never heard of natural cycles, he'll say. Really? Who do you think studies natural cycles if not climate scientists? Or I don't realize that the Earth's climate has changed before, he'll say, when assuming that a climate scientist doesn't know about El Nino or the Ice Age is like assuming your doctor's never heard of germs or antibodies. These assumptions are as constant as they are frustrating, and we all get them. I file mine away in a special email folder. Most frequently, though, it's the conspiracy theories we
You
hear the
should
most
start
about.
doing that.
In the newspaper headlines, on YouTube videos, not PBS ones, of course, and even in US Senate hearings. Why? Because again, discredit the messenger, discredit the message. Scientists have manipulated the data so the conspiracy theories go. Why? For financial gain again, or to further the communist agenda, or because they're an instrument of Satan. Yes, I hear stuff like this all the time. A while ago, I ran into a woman I'd recently met in the grocery store. She asked what I did at the university, and I mentioned climate change. Oh, she said, like those scientists who faked the data. There's an old saying attributed to Mark Twain, a lie can travel halfway around the world while the truth is still putting on its boots. And that's exactly the case with these conspiracy theories. In this case, the woman was talking about how, back in
Faking data.
2008, a server at the University of East Anglia was hacked and thousands of emails were stolen, illegally. People used those emails to accuse scientists of fixing the data and manufacturing the entire issue. But in reality, the only thing that was manufactured was the conspiracy. The scientists whose emails were stolen were harassed and they were tried by their universities, by federal commissions, by independent scientific panels. And you know what that lady in the supermarket didn't know? That they were vindicated every time, a total of 9 times. But only in the court of public opinion can you still be guilty, even though you've been put on trial and pronounced innocent 9 times for the same alleged crime. The reality is this: don't trust the thermometers, skeptical of satellites, leery of ocean sensors, throw them all out. That's right, throw them out. Because the evidence that this world is warming is all around us. Trees are blooming earlier, plants and insects and animals are moving poleward, glaciers are melting, seasons are shifting, sea levels are rising. The signs are right here in front of our eyes. And when we add them all up, there's over 26,500 indicators of a warming world, many of them in our own backyards. Climate change is real. It's us, and it's serious. Shooting the messenger won't make it go away.
All right. Was she persuasive about her argument that discredit the messenger? Discredit the message? Yeah, yes, yeah. Yeah, okay. Yep. That's good. Global weirding, I love it. Well, I'm glad you all think so, and as far as I'm aware, your generation, younger generation, younger than me, so post-millennials, Gen Z, whatever you want to call them, whatever you want to call y'all, are more climate forward than older generations, which is good, right? So I'm not surprised that y'all are like, yay! Okay. Excuse me.
Thank you for watching Global Weirding. Be sure to check out globalweirdingseries.com every other...
That's enough out of you. Okay. She's all in. She's in Big Green's hands. Big Green's hands. Katie, you asked a question while the thing was on. I didn't want to like interrupt or anything like that. What the video was doing, but I'm not entirely sure where you can donate to. You can try to donate to the National Science Foundation. I'm not entirely sure. There are definitely organizations. Just do a quick Google search. I don't have any off the top of my head. You can donate directly to the researcher if you want to. There's that. So, yeah. Okay. So that's discrediting the messenger. Okay. To discredit the message. Now I want to talk about the messages themselves. Okay, I want to talk about the messages themselves. So, we're first going to look at humor as a means to sell a message. And so this one is a Bush from a couple of years ago, the Bush Super Bowl ad. You may have seen it if you watched the Super Bowl.
Bush, as crisp and cold as a mountain stream.
It's not.
It has the same great taste it's always had.
It doesn't.
Even the same sound. Bush.
That's probably true. It's a good one. Does it make you want to buy beer? How about being inundated with that over and 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 over again? Right? How would you feel if that occurred? Yeah. But it's using the humor to be like, oh, that's so cute, Bush. By the way, this guy is the Bush. This is the Bush guy. So here's another one, the Bush latte.
At the cabin, fresh mountain air. Wake up, we got good times to share. Crack open a can of the finest blend. Get that Bush latte feeling with my best friend.
Bush lattes feature a thick foam, great aroma, and of course a finish that's crisp and cold as a mountain stream.
Don't drink beer in the morning. This is gross.
Grab a cup of Bush latte.
There's no such thing, but I like it. It's a great jingle. It's a great jingle. Aaliyah adjusting my side comments. It's just I'm not a huge fan of watered down American lagers, so Yeah, you can put me down on that one. Bushes for popular high schoolers. Hi. Oh my. Oh my. How popular high schoolers. Not. All right, so that's beer. So, and then you could you can look at Budweiser and their pretty much their humor. But then they also have their like Clydesdale advertising campaigns, which attempt to get people to buy their beer, and lots of people do, of course, because they make it cheap, because it's watered down. Bud Light. All right. And then this is you heard this when I was loading it. But this is where humor, I think, actually works as being persuasive. You can disagree. Kmart doesn't really like exist much anymore. They closed a lot of stores. So you may have seen this one. It is from about 10 years ago, I think.
Ship my pants. Right here? Ship my pants, you're kidding.
You can ship your pants right here.
You hear that? I can ship my pants for free.
Wow, I just may ship my pants.
Yeah, ship your pants. Billy, you can ship your pants too.
I can't wait to ship my pants, Dad.
I just shipped my pants, and it's very convenient.
Very convenient.
I just shipped my drawers.
I just shipped my nightie.
I just shipped my bed.
If you can't find what you're looking for in store, we'll find it at Kmart.com right now and ship it to you for free.
And then it plays over again. For some reason, somebody like duplicated it to play it again. So yeah, you can ship your pants. You can ship your pants anywhere. Now, you can do that for any store, but the folks at Sears who owned Kmart at the time were like, yes, we can use this wordplay to our advantage. They're an ad. I don't know, Audrey. I don't know if there was one. See if you can find it if there was something like that. But I mean, you know, the idea, this was a new idea, of course, and Kmart was still around and still selling stuff. And so this was a good way to get more people into the store. Like, oh, that's so funny, that's so cute. They're talking about pooping your pants. Talking about pooping your pants. So there's that. So that's humor. The other one that I wanted to show you is about fear, right? You see this a lot. And there are a couple of questions about... So if you were to attempt to persuade someone with complete opposite view, which type of persuasion would be better to use? Well, you might just scare them silly. You know, let's just like run right up to them and throw a powder bomb into the room and be like, coronavirus, and then run away. If they don't want to wear a mask. Here, coronavirus. That, I think, fear would work the best, because in the short term it works to instigate the behavior change. Does it keep the behavior change? No, it doesn't. Okay, so this is a pair of ads from a seatbelt. New law in the UK, I think in the 60s or 70s, somewhere around there. I thought it was pretty cool. There are two of them, advertisement A and B, and they're both fear appeals. Okay, they are both fear appeals. I'm gonna full screen that.
Young Billy Blunders has borrowed the keys to the family car. He's looking forward to an exciting night out.
His name is Billy Blunders.
In his driving ability, which is more than his dad has.
What does he mean he's gonna put his foot down? I'll show him what putting your foot down means. Stupid. What? Hello? Me Dandra's back again. Hold up. Me luck will be in here. Clear off. Oh, well,
Gross.
I know. I wonder what that little carrot's doing tonight.
You could meet Billy Blunders on your way home from work. And no matter how well you think you know the road, no matter how sensibly you drive, Billy Blunders could be round the next corner. That's why you should always wear your seatbelt.
Watch this.
Even on the shortest trips, beware of the blunders.
He launched himself. That is stunt acting right there. And here's the second one for the campaign.
Richard didn't want to die. But
This
he
is
couldn't
obviously
stop himself.
a newer one, right?
The collision with the car didn't kill him, but he wasn't wearing a seatbelt, so he continued on his journey. When he hit the inside of the car, that didn't kill him either.
Nope.
But his internal organs carried on traveling until they hit his ribcage, and his lungs were punctured, and the main artery from his heart was torn. And that's what killed Richard.
Click it. Click it or tick it, right? It's very scary, right? Yeah. Driver's ed. Oh, Illinoisans and their driver's ed. I didn't have driver's ed as a Californian or, you know, a student in the LAUSD. We did not get driver's ed in school, so, you know, be thankful of that. Okay. So those are the ads that I wanted to share. And then for the last little bit, there was a question. We're actually going to, we're going to, Power of Words. I might come back to that one after the break. We're going to definitely come back to the Dr. Fox lecture after the break. But there was a question, which I think is a really good question. Where was it? Are liars better at persuading people than people who tell the truth more? Well, besides all of the examples that we have right now in the United States, I found a really good example where the quality of the person who is leading the persuasive movement is really, really important, okay? And at this point, now that this is part of the history books, it's clear to the people who are now writing about this that the person that I'm going to tell you about was a liar. Okay? All right. So let me know if you have heard of Jim Jones and the story of Jonestown, or the Jonestown Massacre, or the People's Temple, or the phrase, "Let's drink the Kool-Aid." Let's drink the Kool-Aid. Sitting over there drinking the Kool-Aid. All right, Merrick. I'm not surprised, honestly. Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Jonestown, yeah. Cult stories, indeed. Yep. Okay. Maybe I should have done a poll, because I'm actually... Which means that I don't get to go through the entire history. Jonestown, Jim Jones. Okay, so I'll just briefly mention the idea here, and the Jonestown Massacre, right? I didn't want to click on that. Okay. So Jim Jones was a faith leader, faith healer. He created his own what we'll call now as a cult, right? A fervent religious order called the People's Temple. And it's interesting because there's no apostrophe in the People's Temple. It's just People's Temple. And he wanted this group of followers, after a couple of decades, he wanted them to, really advance the ideas of the faith that he was telling people about. And so he created a People's Temple agricultural product, a commune, because a lot of the teachings of the People's Temple existed in Marxism and the communism of the day, because the Soviet Union existed at this time. So it was the communism of the day. And so he wanted to create a commune with the People's Temple, and then so that's why Jonestown, basically an informal name, right? And so it was actually called the People's Temple Agricultural Project. And here he said that we must join the collective in the sky, or whatever, the faith part of this, right? The afterlife. And people now believe that he orchestrated this murder-suicide, this mass murder-suicide, because people were catching up to his less than, above-board dealings, and convincing people to give up their livelihoods, convincing people to give up their wealth, their money, their lives, the people that they know, the people that they love, as cult leaders do, right? So, even a congressperson and his party went down to Jonestown to find out what happened, and he got murdered. The congressman and his party, they got murdered just before the murder-suicide. And then there was actually another 4 temple members who did a murder-suicide in the capital of Guyana at the time, Georgetown. 909 people drank a cyanide-laced fruit powder drink. Now, it's been erroneously referred to as Kool-Aid, hence the phrase, drinking the Kool-Aid. It was actually an off-brand version that doesn't exist anymore, or maybe it does. I didn't follow the link to whether or not it does. It was called Flavor-Aid, but that doesn't sound as good because Kool-Aid is, much more massive, right? Much more massive. Anyways, 909 people drank this cyanide laced stuff, and so because it was laced with cyanide, people immediately started getting poisoned, and many of them died. There were a few survivors. There were a few high-level survivors that were given lots of money to get to the Soviets, okay? But those people ended up going back to Jonestown and finding loved ones who were poisoned. And then there were a couple of older individuals who figured out what was going on and didn't participate. But most of the people in Jonestown were dead. Okay? And so you think to yourself, how does one man lie his way to get 909 people to drink something that kills them, that will kill them? Okay? And you think to yourself, well, what about that? What about that, right? And it has to do with the feature of the source, which I'm, was talking about in the video, right? He was charismatic. He was charismatic. People hinged on his words because he sounded like an expert. He sounded like there was hope or salvation or whatever at all. He preyed on people's disillusionment with their current faith, their current lives, with the promise of that it would be better. Maybe some people really believed that dying was better. And, you know, some people willingly drank that flavor aid, cyanide flavor aid. But for the vast majority of them, kids included, because they couldn't make their own decisions. Kids included. And then the murdering of Leo Ryan, the congressperson, and his delegation that went down there to get people to do that for you. And then we can take a step back from the charismatic leader and talk about somebody like Hitler, right? Charisma of the source really plays a significant role in persuasion, okay? And charisma is a skill. It's a skill to build. Some people do have more basic level charisma than others, right? How awkward are you in person? You know, that sort of thing. So charisma, and then delivering that message. I think Kitty, Kitty, you mentioned that his messages playing over the speakers, that would have been an influence. Yeah, because it was constantly reiterating the propaganda of his ideas. Same thing with Hitler, same thing with Mussolini, same thing with all other, you know, charismatic leaders who built a coalition from a groundswell, basically, because Hitler was a nobody before he joined politics. He was just likable. He was liked very much. And he was reiterating a common refrain in Germany at the time. And he just had the we'll call mental disturbance to actually engage in it. And you know, something similar could be said of Jim Jones as well, I would imagine. So this is how many cults are done. How many of you have seen Dude, Where's My Car? Oh man, Dude, Where's My Car? So they make fun of these kinds of cults with Zoltan. Oh, it's a good one. It's early Ashton Kutcher. It came out in like 2004, I think. Dude, Where's My Car? I think you should. Hey, Dude, Where's My Car? So good. Kind of makes me want to watch it again. Dude, Where's My Car? Do I have that still? No, I got rid of it. They make fun of these kinds of cult leaders in that movie. It's a comedy. It's a screwball comedy. And you're just like, man, how do people get wrapped up in this kind of stuff? The message resonates. Charisma from the leader, from the source. Right? So, listen to me. Listen. If climate scientists, going back to that video that I had, if climate scientists just had just some really superpowered charisma person who was a climate scientist who could just get up and be like, yo, this is it, then perhaps we could move on it. But of course, no, we ended up getting Al Gore, who has very little charisma. No, all due respect to Al Gore, but he has very little charisma. And it's entirely possible his lack of charisma cost him the election back in 2000. So, you know, yeah. We got Al Gore when we should have gotten somebody with a little bit more charisma, and then maybe we wouldn't be in this mess. I don't know. Maybe we would still be. Who knows? In any case, let's take a break. Come back at 10:10. No, 10:11. Sorry, 10:11. And yeah, we'll pick back up with we'll finish up Persuasion and then drop into Conformity. Alrighty, folks. A little bit of delay there because that's some poor Crypt Show. AJ can't chat with us, which is a big bummer. So you know, send him your love. All right. Let's switch back to this view here. Alrighty. So the last thing I wanted to do with Persuasion was actually there was a question that I wanted to also apply to Jim Jones, which I thought was really interesting. If someone has low self-esteem, are they more likely to believe someone is an expert even if the expert is lying about their knowledge? Yes. Yes. And so that applies to these cult leaders, these charismatic leaders, but also it's going to apply to this Dr. Fox lecture that I will have you listen to. It's about 5 minutes, and then we will jump into Conformity. So let's pop this into full screen here.
Different kinds of reasoning. Rappaport mentions in an article, this has enormous value. I would like to come back to that if I may a little later. We'll get into those in a little bit. Good point. I'll remember that.
The American Association of Medical Colleges. He's written in Science, for those of you who have subscribed to that magazine, that journal. And he also has, I think, 2 publications, 2 books on the topic that he's going to address us with today, and that is behavioral games as it applies to physician learning. Dr. Myron Fox. Dr. Fox.
Thank you. There are several advantages I notice in coming from California. One is that you can wear shorts, whereas the Easterners wear a suit, and that you can wear a mock turtleneck shirt where we wear a tie. I'd like to start today by getting into the applicability of game theory in the field of medicine and in the field of teaching. Now, when Neumann and Morgenstern started with game theory, it was not long before they realized that game theory was not primarily concerned with disclosing the optimum strategy. What it really is concentrating on is concerned with the logic of conflict, that is, with the theory of strategy. Now, in this way, interestingly enough, being here at the gambling state of Nevada, the question to be asked, does game theory differ from gambler's choice, where there was a conflict of interest between the 2 parties, out of which one is to emerge victorious and one is to be defeated? It is the application, if you will, of general systems where the entire man, the entire thing is discussed in relation to the ill of that patient. Because everything changes. In ping pong, which does not correspond to to game theory at all, I have won 3 games, and game theory doesn't help a hell of a lot there. Chess. There have supposedly been a whole variety of differences. Chess does not come under this category because there are a whole series of potential changes which can occur in chess. Rappaport mentions in an article that many years ago, Capablanca, playing the great Cuban champion, played Marshall, the American champion. And Marshall, at the particular point of the crucial game.
So let me know in chat if you think that they were wise to it. Let me know. The earlier question, do you think they got fooled, or you think they were in on it? Okay. Let me know in chat what you think before I continue to play it, because obviously this is going to tell you. Video is going to tell you. Fooled. 2 fooleds. 3 fooleds. 4 fooleds. Boy, not great for doctors. Psychiatrists, even. Any more guesses? All right. I'm sure there are more guesses. They'll come in.
Opened with a very alien, a very strange, a very foreign opening. And Capablanca, having a time in which he could think about this, instead of folding up, which he said was his first reaction, and becoming panicky, instead thought for a moment and came back and accepted the challenge of Marshall and won, thus proving that he won because of a gamesmanship. He outplayed Marshall. He outplayed Marshall psychologically, as well as outplaying Marshall on the board.
I'm finished.
Many years ago, there was a very great Russian chess player named Bogolyubov, back in the days of the Tsar.
There is one small thing, Colonel. I have a Luftwaffe code book with me. The top secret, of course. I wonder if you could put it in your safe.
It's not a confrontation, it's a games theory. It takes place between Tosca and Scarpia.
Of course. It's a storehouse of priceless art treasures.
Now that has great significance. We say these situations exist. These are the milieu, the environment, our kids today say ecology, in which man exists. Now you must abide by that environment. If you can't, if you're in an occupation, you cannot operate in the realm within the formal walls of that occupation. Perhaps
standing ovation.
Incumbent upon us to say that is the wrong occupation. That is the wrong set of values. I think that idea, that it might be the wrong set of values, is fraught with a great many meanings. Some could be dangerous, quite dangerous. Now, to convince the other, we must get him to listen to us. And this cannot usually be done if we ourselves do not listen. We go in one door, we go all the way around, we come out the same way. I think the word was communication. We ourselves do not listen. Therefore, we must learn to listen in the broadest sense of listening, in the sense of assuming for a while the other's world outlook. Because only in this way will we make sense of what he is saying. All these things are related not to know-how, but to wisdom. It may happen that we acquire the necessary wisdom. Many of the conflicts that the strategy experts in their professional zeal insist on formulating as battles of wits, or worse, as a battle of wills, will be resolved of their own accord. The applicability of these factors, the theory of games, to the field of not only psychiatry, but the teaching of psychiatry, the training, I think has great value. Thank you, gentlemen.
Mike is a professional actor. He simulated a physician in television shows.
You better. It's the law. Cop will arrest you if he finds him.
We set you up. And the idea of this is to try to simulate a situation in which we're teaching...
The educational channel.
What'd you think? What'd you think of that? Thank you, sir. Oh. What'd y'all think of that, huh? Yeah. I like the teaching evaluation message myself. You know. Classic man, yeah, sure. You could probably argue whether or not this would work if it were a woman pretending to be a doctor, and whether or not people would hinge on every word. Oh, what do you say? Or if it's an attractive woman. Many of you asked questions about similarity with persuasion and attractiveness. Why do similarities with attract and I think with and work here work so well for advertising? Well, because we think beauty is good. That's a heuristic that we have. And yeah, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, of course. But there are biological precepts regarding beauty that we all have. Okay. And then similarities, we are persuaded by people who are just like us, right? So those dudes were persuaded by that dude who seem to be making some sort of profound sense. Now, there is a scale now that exists in psychology, and it's great. So, apologies for the language. It is called the bullshit receptivity scale, and it's 10 to 15. I can't remember I think it's 10 or 11. Meaningless statements that are meant to sound profound. And some of them actually come from tweets from like guys like Deepak Chopra, where nonsense that is said in with a smidge of jargon and a smidge sousance of platitudes sounds really good, and I should buy into that, right? So we have expertise, we have beauty, and we want to, do things that are similar. We want to believe, and we are persuaded by people who are similar to us, right? This one dude psychiatrist talking to a bunch of dude psychiatrists. This was the 1960s, I think they said, at USC, right? You can imagine, you can bet all of your money that everyone in that room who had a MD in psychiatry was a man. Okay. So there you go. Yeah. Yes, Kitty, it is the BSR. It is the bullshit receptivity scale, published in 2015, 2016, something like. Gordon Pennycook is the primary author of it. I've used it in collaboration studies myself. It's a fun thing to write in an academic journal, because that's its name. It's bullshit. It got published as bullshit, and it is bullshit. No, it's actually a very good scale. It's not bullshit. It determines whether or not people are susceptible to bullshit. Okay. So, yeah, this happens. And with the teacher evaluation thing, I did not show this because I was trying to attempt to tell you about entertainment is not the only thing for teacher evaluations. I didn't share it for that. This is probably the best one I could find that it was that had the subtitle cards in between this guy talking. So that's why I showed it. But it does have that applicability to it. Like, when somebody seemingly sounds smart like this, we buy into every word. We sit there and we're like, oh, yeah, that's, yeah, okay. Yeah, great. So that was the main thing for it. That was the main thing for it. Gentleman Scientist, I found it very hard to follow him. You weren't supposed to follow him. That was the whole trick. And the idea was that these smart, intelligent, learned men should have been able to detect that. But of course, persuasion doesn't work like that. So, except for that one guy at the very beginning of the talk who just walked out of the auditorium. Good times. All right. So let's get this music back on. I need the music bed for my head. All right, so let's talk about conformity. So, all right, next activity for you all. Close that. We're gonna go to this view here. What I want you to do is tell me. Come on, load it up. Thank you. Tell me. Come on now. Somebody's calling me. 309 number. Here. Oh my gosh. There we are. So this is what I'd like you to do for me. I'd like for you in chat to tell me what sort of social rituals you or the people that you know participate in. So, what social rituals? So, what is a social ritual? Well, it's a socially stipulated group convention to create social cohesion and promote shared beliefs. Okay, so what sort of rituals do we have in the United States? Since many of you watching are from the United States, what are the rituals that you participate in? They can be all sorts of. They could be in any domain of society, but it has to be a social ritual, right? So it has to be socially stipulated, like this is what society has said that we should do, and it has to be within a group, okay? It has to be within a group. So these could be political in nature, these could be sports, these could be other social things, religious, okay? Let me know what you have here. So, Merrick, coming up with smiling when you make eye contact with somebody. That is definitely an American thing. Sure. Okay. Audrey, shaking hands before a business conversation. Not anymore. Megan holding the door open for people. Okay. Think of more event-based stuff. Taking your shoes off when entering someone's home. Okay. Kitty saying please, thank you. I think that's just manners, to be honest. Standing facing front, that is an interesting one. Is it a social ritual or is it just conformity? Okay. So, Megan is asking, so what is a social ritual? Okay, social rituals are socially stipulated group conventions to create social cohesion and promote shared beliefs. Okay. So, Merrick, after you win a Blues game, you have to yell, "Let's go Blues" with the crowd. In the parking deck, it happens every game. Yeah. Right? Another sports-related one could be when the Dodgers win a game. When the Dodgers win a game, everyone sings "I Love LA" from Randy Newman. Right? Elena, speaking to everyone when you go somewhere like in a group setting. That's potentially it. Standing around the water cooler discussing last night's TV programming. Yeah, in an earlier life. Right, in an earlier life. So, Megan, let me give you a little bit because you said you still don't get it. You are a athlete, yes? So what sort of rituals do you do with your team? Okay. After a Cubs game at Wrigley, when they win, the crowd sings "Go Cubs Go." Yeah. Be another 100 some years before anything good happens to them. Oh! Screaming Green Bay sucks in the tunnels after every Bears game. Even if they don't play the Bears, or even if the Bears don't play Green Bay. So, yep. I said on day one that I was a Dodgers fan, so, you know. This is how it's gonna be. How's it gonna be? I bet you will be all surprised when I say that other social rituals that we participate in, birthdays, weddings, okay, funerals. Sometimes you got 4 weddings and a funeral. Even if they don't play them, and even if the Bears lose, oh man, how many? I don't know how many championships Green Bay has versus the Bears, but I don't know. Walking on some Anniversaries, definitely. Anniversaries. Scholastic Bowl. The team prayed to Frogus Christ. Frogus Christ before every match. Okay. A whole bunch of holidays. Yeah. Yeah. Political ones. Oh, Frogus Christ. Yeah. What political rituals might we participate in? And this could be anywhere, really. Clearly, voting. Yeah. Voting debates. I like debates. Debates, definitely. The whole parliament. I don't know if that's a ritual, though. Highly regulated, repetitive. I can kind of see it. It depends on what, though. It depends on what they're doing. Yeah, but sometimes those clear roles are prescribed as rules, I would say, as rules, rather than ritual for ritual's sake. So this applies to conformity because we do participate in these rituals, whether you participate in the specific ones that were named in chat, whether or not you participate in those, they seek to do four things. One, identify what is happening with the members. What do members do in those rituals, right? So what's the dress? What's the etiquette, right? What actions mark your group versus other people's groups, okay? Demonstrating in-group commitment. I think that can be explicit or implicit. So an explicit idea with in-group commitment during a social ritual would be something like the Pledge of Allegiance. That's a literal, explicit in-group commitment to allegiance to the United States, right? And the reason why we do this is because it promotes trust and affiliation, okay? The third thing is facilitating cooperation. As we will discuss next week, cooperation really is the name of the game to get members of groups as well as other groups to reduce conflict, okay? And so within a group, it's a good idea to start there, okay? And then increasing cohesion is the fourth one. Increasing cohesion, right? So things like what Merrick said about the blues, or what Tyler said about as you're walking through the tunnels from Soldier Field, you say things together in unison. Just even going to church and Christian churches, of course, and like singing along with the hymnals or whatever. That's the cohesion. That's what connects us. Eureka does something like this for all of those of you who are going to be with us for the next 2 or 4 or some number of years, because many of you are freshmen, at our social gatherings, which have been very few and far between recently, and I'm not sure exactly when the next one will be. We end with things like opening convocation, graduation / commencement, Founders Day convocation, all of these things, we sing the alma mater, which is the Eureka College song. And it was written a long time ago, and it has to do with the fact that there are elm trees planted on planted. They're growing. They were growing before Eureka came. So the elm trees, and so it's 'neath the elms. And you may have heard this when you were getting your tour with that, right? So that's a way to increase the cohesiveness of being a student at Eureka, a student, staff, or faculty at Eureka College, like building this Eureka College community, right? And so that becomes a social ritual, increasing cohesion. I like it. I try to sing along with the... I don't know all the words. I like the chorus. But other than that, yeah. Okay, we're gonna do another social norm actividad. Okay. Okay. I'm going to switch views back to this one. Okay. So, I don't know if you can read it. Let me increase the size here. I wish this worked. I wish that worked. Nope. Ugh. See, I'm doing Command plus. Alright, good. It's wrapping. Text wrapping. Okay, this is what I'd like for you all to do. Okay. In chat, you don't have to do, there's the question 2, I think, is, like, name some. But the first question I want you to answer in chat is number 1. So, is conformity a good thing or a bad thing? And please explain your answer. Why or why not? In chat, do that now, please. In chat, which is above me. It's also to the side. It's also to the side of me, but that's because my view is different from yours. It's also to the side of you too, I guess. Randomly talking about stuff. And so while you're doing that, I want to tell you about Rumspringa. And you may have heard of Rumspringa. It's so if you're familiar with the Amish, the Pennsylvania Dutch, for example, who speak German, among other languages. So the Amish, they live very agrarian lives. It's a very agrarian society, and they eschew any sort of modern developments with technology. They use electricity. I think that's a common misconception. They do use electricity, so it's easier than like having everything lamp-based, fire lamp-based. But they use electricity, but they eschew all sorts of modern developments with electricity, like cell phones, things like that. So you may have heard of Rumspringa. As I'm waiting for people to jump into chat with this one. Is conformity a good thing or a bad thing? Rumspringa is the end of the adolescence experience for Amish children. And the reason why I'm bringing it up because we're doing this is because it is an opening for Amish teens to experience modern life before they make the decision to conform to the Amish lifestyle, the conservative Amish agrarian lifestyle, because they want the individuals who created Rumspringa in Amish culture wanted their society to be made up of people who decided to be Amish. And if you conform to that, they wanted to make sure that everyone would be that way, right? They wanted to conform to this lifestyle after having experienced. And so Rumspringa is the option for Amish teens to either leave the culture and join modern US culture, or come and return to Amish culture. And everything is fair game in Rumspringa. getting a cell phone and slash smartphone, moving away during the Rumspringa period, having sex, okay, doing drugs, drinking alcohol, driving cars, all sorts of things, right? Yeah, Audrey, there was breaking Amish. Although, as an introduction, I would say stay away from TLC shows. The Learning Channel used to be good, and then it became stuff like the little kids runway show, the beauty pageant stuff. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, Breaking Amish was a glimpse at what Rumspringa is. So I thought that was a very interesting thing to add. While is conformity good or a bad thing? Well, it's what you choose to do. I would wager it's something that a lot of people choose that they might do, and with respect to the Amish, they are choosing to do it, right? Those that return to right? Thanks for the stream, follow X Vapor. All right, so let's see. Gentlemen scientists, thanks for coming by again. Conformity is neither good nor bad. It can be beneficial because it creates unity and furthers a common goal, okay? But it hurts diversity and might keep a community from developing further. That is a well-thought-out answer. It's like you're a scientist or something. Everyone should be their own person when it comes to certain situations. Like that story about when in New York people were walking by would not help someone who is hurt because no one else is bad. Should be their own person. Okay. Okay. Sophia, it's good because it can bond groups together. Could be bad because people may conform without realizing something is not moral. That's a very good point. That's a very good point. Audrey, in many situations, conformity is good. The way society communicates without words. That I assume that's what you mean by norms. These prescribed behaviors. Yeah. But it's not good for every situation. I like that. / it depends. It can be either conforming in recreational community setting brings you tighter into the group. But it could be bad in conforming to a group that is against your personal belief. Okay, because if the group is evil, right? Nazis. Rachel says yes and no. Again, it depends. It could be good for groups to become closer and for them to share similar beliefs, but it can be bad when those beliefs are for the bad, such as negative for society. Okay, that's fair. All right, question 2. Don't do 20. What I want to see in chat, and sorry about the plosives here. What I want to see in chat is just a few. Name a few social norms that you can, and if it's a certain group or context, describe that. So, what social norms do we have? Now, they're not social rituals, just norms. Okay. So, a couple of the early examples of social rituals were more norm-based, like the smiling from Merrick, I think is who that was. The please and thank you was also a more of a norm than anything. So what sort of things do we do that society says, hey, you should probably do this? But it's not written down anywhere. It's not a law, right? It's not a law. So I have a good example that I want to show you here, but I want to see in chat what you got, because I have an example. I'm getting it open now, but I don't want it to appear on my other screen. And then I also have to silence it. Skip ads. Ignore that. All right. Gentleman scientist, that is a creepy looking emote. Don't fart in an elevator. Yep. I would say that is, as there's no law about farting in public places, but really try not to do it in an enclosed space. Social norm being heterosexual. Yeah. I can see that. Although it might be more, better classified as a role. Walking your dog on a leash. It's a law in many places, though, isn't it, Merrick? It's definitely a law in Peoria, too. If you're in a public place, that you have to have your dog on a leash. So, I don't know. I don't know about that one. Sophia dressing to fit the occasion, like business versus casual. Yeah. Although I would argue, so yes, although I would argue that that also plays into social rituals, depending on what the occasion is, right? So you don't rock up to a wedding, which would be a social ritual, as we mentioned previously. You don't rock up to a wedding by wearing, you know, cut off jeans and a t-shirt, a ratty t-shirt, right? So potentially. Any other ideas? Anyone who is also lurking can participate as well. So there's no problem with that. As long as you're kind and respectful, you can definitely participate in the class. So I have one, and I'm not going to show you the whole thing because I do want to continue. So this one was created. This video was created more than 10 years ago. It's not very well produced. So I am going to put closed captions on. Whether or not those captions are good is another story. But this is when a social norm conflicts with laws.
I feel a little suspicious anyway.
I was pretty sure that I was doing something stupid.
I'm nervous.
That's not how you spell obedience.
Psycho. We're gonna follow their rules and show them how stupid those rules are.
They're on their way.
They have these sweet little supporters on us. Why would they do that if you're not?
Okay, so I'm gonna give a little background because they like tried to make this like super cut and like super avant-garde. Really what they were doing was they were doing a field demonstration. Wasn't an experiment, a field demonstration of a social norm versus the law. Driving. How many of you drive and drive the speed limit / not faster than the speed limit? This is very important. So the idea here is if you drive and you drive on the highway, you have the social norm of the flow of traffic. And then you have the law, which is the posted speed limit, which you are not allowed to exceed, according to the law. Whether people do it and whether or not you get caught doing it are two different things. The law is the law. You are not allowed to exceed this posted speed limit for any section of road. Okay, so these people in this video went out on the highway. About 5 of them went on the highway and they sat in different lanes at the speed limit. And in where they did this, the speed limit on the highway was 55. Not around here in Illinois where it's 75 or 70. And then there are places in Montana that are like 75 or even posted 85. But they still received highway matching funds, which is interesting. So what's the 55 for? Well, this was an attempt by the federal government to allocate funding for having slower speeds and a more consistent speed limit on highways. That's where the 55 came from. But then after highway matching fund laws expired, states were allowed to modify based on traffic. Which is why, I-39 going through the middle of Illinois has a speed limit of 70. And many remote interstates in, like, Wisconsin are also 70 as well. And so they went and they did this, and they sat at 55 in lanes.
Not going to enforce it. Like, everyone goes, like, 75, right? And that's fine. But then, if I go 80, like, which is really, think about it, just 5 over. But then, I can ticket it for, like, 25 I don't understand. Over. This is the point of this. Like, okay, we'll follow the law. 55 is too slow for anyone in Atlanta.
Oh, guess they're in Atlanta. 55 speed limit.
There's Needy, she's slowing down. I had like visions in my head of us like totally closing off traffic. Kids slowing down. Once I got down there, I realized what kind of terrible situation I got myself in. There's like a pack of cars blocking off 35 going like 50.
It's already started.
And we have an 18-wheeler.
Excellent.
Angry with us.
People passing us, people going around me on the shoulder. Get that guy, get that guy. When that guy lost his mirror, like, I just couldn't believe it. All I could do was pretend to be busy with my cell phone so that people wouldn't.
His clearly before hands-free laws.
Oh, what's this guy doing?
Oh, he's flicking him off.
Well, what can I do? He wanted to talk to me, but I couldn't roll down my window. I can't, like, drive and be all, like, this. So I just have to be like, hey, dude, can't roll down my window. Sorry. There's Church Street. There's Church Street.
I just looked and there was like 2 cars coming down the road, and that was it. Like the rest of the highway was completely empty.
Oh my God, this is insane. There's nothing.
I saw like a little bit of light, like in the.
Okay, so you kind of get the idea there. The next one is, so for the ones that you thought about for this particular part of the stream, for the norms that you listed in number 2, what would you say is positive? Would you positive, negative, or neutral about them? So, gentlemen scientists, no farting in an elevator. Positive, negative, or neutral on that one? Can you think of any social norm that you're glad they exist? Like, what social norms are you happy exist in the world because they make you feel better about the world and life and that sort of thing? What do you think? And then that's what we'll end with. I don't think any more. So drop in chat what you think, and then we will end. I'm glad that one exists too. Yeah. Not farting in an elevator. Good hygiene. Ah, yeah. Yeah. Rachel, you're saying yours is negative. Yeah, being heterosexual, sure. Good hygiene, yeah. It hasn't even been that recent that it was a social norm, which is kind of sucky. that hasn't been a social norm for that long of human existence, you know? Oh man. Wearing a mask? I don't know if that's gonna be count. That's I don't know if that's a social norm yet. X-Vapor, I don't know. Well, what time will tell on that one. Time will tell on that one. All the norms that protect others from nasty things. I want what is one example you have from that one, Sophia? Going to college. So you're saying, Megan, that you're glad that social norm exists going to college? I mean, yeah, I'm shoot, my job depends on it. So yeah, I'd say I'm happy for that one too. All right. Well, no, but okay, that's fair. But what I was saying, Megan, was like, what are you glad exist? So it's just good hygiene and living in a clean environment. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so not a messy environment, not a hoarder's environment, a hoarder's sort of environment. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I like it. Okay, alrighty. So it is 11 now, and we are going to end today's stream. We're halfway done with this week's content. So tomorrow we're gonna do the second part of social influence. For those of you who aren't in the class, if you want to join us tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central Time or Chicago time, wherever you are in the world. Yeah, so make sure people get those questions in on Brightspace, do those reading checks. I am available on Zoom if you have any issues right now. Everyone, have a good day. Enjoy yourselves.